All right, any questions, observations, please? You want to say something? All right, start. No, I'm asking you.
I have questions.
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
I have quite a few questions.
You can come closer, a bit closer.
It's very long.
I see.
In Surah Fatah, there is a verse, وَلِلَّهِ جُنُودُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَكَانَ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمًا.
Yes.
Could you kindly explain the meaning of this, please? And I have a couple of questions on this one.
Listen, just a moment, please. You stand up. First read a literal translation of this verse so that everybody knows what you are talking about. And then tell me what the questions are. You should by now you should have learned the difference between questions and cross-examination. You are tending to shift to the region of cross-examination rather than questions now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be...
No, I know that you don't mean, but many things you say you don't mean.
Could you kindly explain the meaning first, please?
No, tell me the translation and ask the question.
Unfortunately, first time today I haven't got the translation with me.
Don't you know the meaning?
So I want to know the meaning of Junood, please. Oh, thank you.
All right. So get the verse and the meaning is written in the Holy Quran. Read it.
In the meantime, can somebody else?
Why?
What was it? Surah Fatah. The second was Surah Hadid.
First let's finish with this one. Surah Fatah is in the media नहीं देख लो अब निकल आएगा. Correct. That's right, yes.
And to Allah belongs the host of heavens.
Hosts. Yes.
Of heavens and the earth.
That's right.
And Allah is mighty and wise.
Right.
Could you explain this, please?
No, why? Tell me. Put your questions.
The question was, does it mean that there is certain creation living in the planet?
What is the next question? Next part of it. What is the next part of the question?
Well, the other part is, there is another verse, لِلَّهَ مِيرَاثُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ.
Yes.
What that means and how they compare.
What is it written there in the Holy Quran?
I haven't got that.
You have got the Holy Quran, you write in your hand.
It's different surahs.
Yes, all right, you will find out. Call Saki Sahib for your help. All right, in the meantime, we'll speak on this. Come, you can come and stand, keep standing there. Lillahi junudu samawati wal ard means whatever exists which can be put to some agency, which can work as an agent. That means whatever is conscious and can be employed to achieve certain purposes. Those are the hosts of Allah. So everything on earth works not only as a destiny of objective nature, but also works as a destiny of subjective nature. Man is also a recipient of Allah's destiny. In that position, he represents an objective nature, but he is also the means of disposing Allah's will and issuing decrees and carrying them out through the agency of man. So in that case he becomes the hosts of Allah. So everything that has a living existence and has some sort of consciousness, even bacteria who are employed by Allah in the grandest scheme of things to achieve certain purposes, they are called hosts of Allah. So distinction is not made between those who live on earth or upon earth and those who live between the heaven and the earth and those who live in the heavens, whatever they be. No such distinction is made. It's just existence of any form. Even angels fall into this category.
The other verse was وَلِلَّهِ مِيرَاثُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ.
You know, the fact is, this verse is an explanation of Allah's attribute of Malikiyat. Allah is Malik, which means he is the proprietor of all things. Temporarily and sometimes in a concealed manner so that people may not understand it properly, his ultimate right of possession is shifted to others. Like you become proprietor of small things here on earth, and some other person may become a proprietor of some bigger things and so on and so forth. The whole earth is divided in spheres of possessions. So everything seems to be confused here. People begin to be conceited about their possessions and they think that they belong to them. But in reality, they only temporarily own them. The result is that when they die, they leave it to others and they couldn't care less what happens to it after their death, you know. So that shows they are just temporary custodians. This continues until you may conceive the time when it is doomsday, when everything is destroyed and there is no being which can even temporarily possess the values of this earth. To whom will that belong? To Allah. Entirely, without any participation, without any confusion, without ambiguity. It will be so clear then that nobody shares the possession of whatever is on the earth or within the earth or belongs to it somehow or the other. So that means miras. He will inherit everything ultimately. Those who pass away, they leave things without having anything to do with them anymore. So those who inherit those things ultimately pass them on. But except for God, when He inherits, that is to say, then there is no claimant, no other one. And it will not be passed on to others by way of miras then, because Allah never dies. So He may give it as a gift or a charity or anything as He pleases, but He is the ultimate receiver of that miras, that heritage, which can never pass again into any other hands as heritage. So there is a dead end there. So truly and in all possible ways and means, Allah is the ultimate inheritor of everything. Right? Any other question, please? Little Ghazi, oh just a moment. After him, okay. You know, the finger is directed up to the last man, the Mubashir. Who is it sitting in the end? No, somebody else. Yes. It works in that direction generally. So if anybody else wants to ask a question, he thinks I'm directing at him. So when I was pointing at you, he thought I was pointing at him. Shah Sahib thought. Shah Sahib, come on now. Shah Sahib? Achha, I'm sorry. He wanted to go out. Okay. So I asked you now.